Hello and welcome. In today's video, I'm going to be going through the process of creating this paper cutting. Which is of Gakekannon Temple in southern Chiba Prefecture in Japan. It is also known as Daifukuji Temple. I was lucky enough to visit this area in the summer this year, in August, so about a month ago at this point. And as always, I took a lot of pictures and settled upon one to start creating artwork from. I plan on doing a few of this temple, going through the pictures. There's quite a few that I think I'll create some artwork from. So this was the first one. And so before I get into the actual drawing process and creating the art, I'm going to go over a couple of important events that took place in Japan this summer when I was visiting that kind of really influenced the process of how I went about creating this piece of art. So the first thing I'm going to go over is a visit that I had with a Japanese paper cutting artist by the name of Hyakimaru. I met him a number of years ago, and we chat online quite a bit, but obviously it was very different meeting him in person and getting to see his artwork up close and actually seeing the originals in person. So here's a book of his artwork that I bought, so some examples of his work. So he works mostly creating paper cutting of people. And here's a couple more. I'll include his Instagram handle in the description of this video. His Instagram page is probably the best place to have a look at all of his works, but he's been doing this for a long time. All of these are book covers and magazine covers, which he said he does mainly. So this was an original that he gave me. And so obviously I got a chance to sit down and speak with him. And one thing that he said that really stuck out with me, I asked him why he does mostly people and faces. And assuming I speak a bit of Japanese, and assuming I understood what he said, basically he said if he did architecture or something like that, it would essentially be the same as what I create or someone else created. So with human forms, you can, I guess he feels he has a better opportunity to express his own unique style. And I mean, point taken. I get what he was trying to say, I think. So it's something I've been thinking of for a while, on how to make my own unique artwork that someone else can't create, I suppose. If I were to give one piece of advice to any artist, it would be to create something only you can create. So I'll describe that a bit more as I'm going through the exact process of how I created the paper cutting in this video. So anyways, that was something he said that really stuck with me, and it's I mean, it's just one kind of small thing, but it's something I'd been mulling over for a while, and just having him say it to me then just kind of gave me an extra push to kind of change up how I do my artwork. And so the second, I would say, big event that influenced how I approached this paper cutting was being able to visit the Huli Museum in Tokyo. Now, if you've ever seen any Japanese art, odds are you've seen Hokusai's. This is Great Wave off Kanagawa. So pretty much everyone has seen this. It's probably the single most famous piece of Japanese art. It's used for pretty much everything. See, this is just a file folder, but got some chips over there, beer, just pretty much everything you can imagine. They'll put this on. But so obviously that's one of his, and so I got to visit a museum of his work in Tokyo, where he's from, Sumida. And so getting to see his artwork, his originals, was really, I don't know, really impactful, I guess you could say. And so obviously seeing those, but then I've had obviously some books of his work I've bought before, but at the museum they were selling this. So this is Hokusai Manga, it's called. And so it's 3 volumes, and each one is just full of his sketches and drawings. And so this one is The Life and Manners of the Day. And there's a third one, which is mythical creatures and folklore and whatnot. But the one that I referenced a lot when I was going through this paper cutting was this one here, which says Whole Earth Catalog. So it's a lot of just simple trees and mountains and whatnot. And his artwork, so the woodblock prints are very similar to mine, to the paper cutting that I do, in that there's obviously there's a lot of black lines. That's kind of the main part, and then these don't have a lot of color, but obviously the end products do. But what I'm looking for to help kind of guide me a little bit and see how to do things here and there is just the line drawings. So here, how to create these mountains, different ways of doing trees. So here, there, just kind of up close, how to create that effect from far away. So just really relatively simple patterns, but just how to create an overall composition and what works and what doesn't, and some of the shapes you can use to create trees and whatnot. So I tried my best not to copy directly, but just to kind of use these as a guide a little bit, and just seeing how I can create my own style. And also another big thing that I always try and get from these is like these masterpieces that he creates, all of the negative space. It's something I've always struggled with, is leaving negative space, because I try and cram everything I can into pieces, but it's really just the overall design that gives the most impact. So try to use that a little bit in creating this most recent paper cutting. So before going into the process of how I created the Gakekannon paper cutting, just quickly go over the process that I've been using up to this point of creating my paper cuttings. So normally I would get one of my pictures and blow it up as necessary. So this is a photocopy of a picture I took. So I would take my Sharpie and just kind of go over what was there. Just kind of fill that in and draw over top. And so just filling in the shapes here like that the whole way through, then adding the black layer of paper that I'm going to be cutting underneath, cutting both layers. And then I haven't added color to this yet, obviously, but this is kind of what the paper cutting looks like after it's been cut. And so you see it kind of matches almost identically what the original picture was. And so having said that, going back to the conversation with Hyakimaru, with him saying, or basically what I took from the conversation, what he said about creating something unique, I printed this off more as a reference than anything, but for a while, as I said, I've been kind of tinkering with the idea of just doing a lot more drawing and not following necessarily a photocopy the way I just showed you, the way I normally would do things. So with this one, I decided to just kind of go for it and do a lot more drawing and not necessarily follow exactly what the photocopy in the original picture might show. I mean, with this one I had to anyway because this building's in the way. But so I printed this just for reference. Then I knew I was going to do some of these trees, so I printed these out. And so this is the drawing at this point. So you can see it's mostly in pencil. And so I did this first because this was essential. I'm likely going to add a bit more shading here. So the black was the building I did in black first because that's the most essential part. And then the rest was just something I was going to fill in. So what I'm going to do now is go over all the pencil with black. With this as I normally would, except this time it's my drawing, it's not the photocopy. And with this one, I plan on doing a few different versions. First one I'll do it at all black, but then seeing it this way with the black and then the gray here, I think the plan is anyway, I'll do another version with some gray layers so this stands out a bit more the way it does now. But I mean, there's going to be a lot more I think I can do with this, the fact that it's all original, and just kind of experiment with it there. And so to give you an idea, usually as I showed, I'll go with the photocopy, but this is what I started with and got here. So I wanted to make sure I got these lines right for the building, and then everything else was kind of just referencing the pictures, but also coming up with something that I think will work for the overall composition. And so I have to do quite a bit of erasing to get it to where I think it'll work. So I've added some negative space here. The clouds, not quite sure yet what I'll do there, but I'll just leave that blank. But I wanted to have some light here because this is going to be really dark, but as I said, I'll kind of create a couple different versions and see where things go. But obviously you can see there's a lot less there to just kind of draw over top of. And so I've created something that's more unique and leaning a lot more on my own creativity and what I think might look better. So I'm happy with the drawing at this point, and we'll see where things end up. So I finished the drawing here, and now I'll start cutting. It's kind of gives you a bit of an idea of what it'll look like in the end. So now I'm going to attach the paper to the drawing, and then I'll cut through both layers. So as always, I'll be starting with the smallest pieces first, generally. So I'll probably be doing this part here, some of the rocks here, and some of the space in between the trees / grass here, and then working my way out. That's about how small they are. And then the cuts there. So yeah, I'll be tilting the table up, so take a couple videos as I'm cutting it. So I've done quite a bit of the cutting of the black layer, which is the only layer for this one at this point. So most of the trees down here, a bit around the building and the rock there. So it's just these parts here, the mountain and the trees, and then a few of the other trees down here. And so I've left these to a later part just because they're so big. If I were to take these pieces out first, then these smaller pieces here would be harder to take out. And so just so it's completely obvious, everything is hand cut. Some people have thought I use lasers or a machine to do my cutting. If I were to ever use a machine to do any of the cutting, it would render the whole thing pointless, for me anyway. So yeah, everything is always hand cut. So I'll just finish these bigger portions here, and then for this one, that'll be pretty much it. Then I'll just be gluing it onto the white paper, and then from there, probably be seeing what other ways I can use this design, make some different layouts. So jumping ahead a little bit here, finished the paper cutting. So This is a photocopy of the black layer on its own. And so this was the original drawing. As you can see, it's all cut out. I've removed that. And I decided to put it on a watercolor background, so it's glued onto there. I put it on some white paper and then kind of played around with it a bit on the computer, put some different backgrounds behind it, and I just felt like it looked really good on this color background, so I've put it on there. And as I said before, probably be doing another version of this with different grays perhaps, but not sure when I'll get around to doing that. I have a couple other things coming up, so this is the completed piece for now. If you are interested in seeing what I come up with, then just follow me on Instagram or Facebook, and I'll be posting things as they are finished. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.